Look at him. He's just dickered. Just dickered, boys. Son of a bitch.
Yo, yo. Class A, and macro. Not connected, not elected to participate. Bouncing down the stems will make your head hurt. Enjoy the takes. Says her whose head burns from hearing harvest.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Take or Wide. This is episode 259. If this is your first time listening to the show, thank you for coming. There's a lot of cool shit that happens on this show. I get to speak to some really, really cool people about stuff that's important to them, that they're passionate about, and hopefully it will fuel you and inspire you to make and create and just go about your day with some positivity. You know, there's enough negativity out there, and at least for me, any slice of positivity that I can consume and grab helps my day. So I hope you guys enjoy it. Every episode is brought to you by a certain number of sponsors. They help me get the show out to you guys. This isn't free, and they believe in the show, and that means a lot to me. So hopefully you guys can support them, like them on Facebook or Instagram, purchase their stuff, show them love. Anything like that helps. Let's help each other out here. So first up, we have Los Cabos Drumsticks. Los Cabos Drumsticks are Canada's #1 drumstick manufacturer. They have over 20 different stick models in 3 different types of wood. I use Los Cabos. Right now I'm using the Red Hickory 5A Intenses. And I found from the Zildjian sticks to the Vic Firth to the ProMark, Los Cabos seem to be the most durable, at least for me. Like either my playing style has completely changed or the stick has, you know, in that I've tried a bunch of sticks and I've been with Los Cabos for a couple of years. They make really good sticks, and they're also not crazy expensive, and they're also made in Canada. So there's a lot of cool things about the company, and also they sponsor this show. So if you go to loscabosdrumsticks.com, you can find out more stuff there. If you want to, episode 146, I spoke to Phil, their A&R guy, just about the company and the history of it and just why they care about small little bands and supporting the little guy. It's a really cool company. So loscabosdrumsticks.com. Heartbeat Hot Sauce is the next sponsor. If you're a fan of hot sauce, Heartbeat Hot Sauce is so legit. It's so good. I feel like using adjectives and descriptors doesn't do it justice. You have to just try it. You have to try this fucking sauce. The quick story is my friend Al, who's a chef out in Thunder Bay, started doing this as a side hustle, and it just took over. It's his main gig now because it's in such demand. It's just a really good hot sauce. They were on season 6 of Hot Ones, that YouTube show that has like millions of views per episode. It's a really good hot sauce, bottom line. You can go to heartbeathotsauce.com and find out where to buy it. You can get it in most stores across Canada. You can order it online too. But really, I think you could find it anywhere. Just look online. There's a store locator that you can use to find out where they're located. Heartbeathotsauce.com. They have Instagram, all that. Just a good ass hot sauce. Episode 221, I spoke to Al, who runs the company. Next, we have Kevin Rigo of Hefner Toyota out at 3121 King Street East in Kitchener. If you or your brother or your mother or your cousin or your uncle or friend or anyone is thinking about buying a car, and maybe a Toyota for that fact, Kevin's a good friend of mine. He's an old friend of mine, and he's an honest dude. I'd love to have those types of funds or be in that position to get a car, but just to work with Rigo. Obviously, it's easy because I'm his buddy and I trust him. But just through the years, he's just proven to be a rad dude, a real dude, an honest guy who won't rip you off and will be honest about it. I think that's the most important thing, is an honest car salesman. He supports the DIY ethic, obviously, and he's just the raddest dude. So if you want to go to 3121 King Street East, go to Hefner Toyota, talk to Rigo, mention the show, and you'll get special pricing on new vehicles, which is crazy. So yeah, hopefully you guys know someone who is looking for a car. IroncladGraphics.com is where you can find the silk screening company out in Kingston. Ironclad Graphics have been in the game, 15 years, 20 years, long goddamn time. And they can silk screen anything, really. They do shirts. That's the shirts I have for the show are through them. But they do posters and koozies, and they do patches and stickers, everything. Just go to the website and check it out. They're competitive with their pricing. Throw them in the hat for a merch provider. I've been super happy with them, been working with them. All my bands have, and they're sponsors, so go show them love. Next, we have Dapper Beard Oil. If you have a beard and you're into it not stinking, Dapper Beard Oil is a really cool company. Again, it's a small business. My friend Andrew runs it, and it's all ethically sourced. It's all 100% natural ingredients. It's functional. It helps hydrate your beard. It's antibacterial. It helps fight beard dandruff. It helps hydrate. It's a really good beard oil. It's what's the word? Not custom. Like, it is custom, but it's just kind of boutique. It's all, everything about it. It's the presentation of it as a product is beautiful. I feel like Andrew, he's a photographer. He has an eye for art for sure, and that I feel like that translates and mutated into how he presents this company. Go to the website dapperbeardoil.com and peruse, take a look, and hopefully you guys order. Use promo code TakerWide, free ship, and save on the shipping. And when you get it, you'll know what I'm talking about. There's a little thank you thing I got from him from an order a while ago, and it's just fucking cool. It shows he cares. That's really it. He cares about his company. He cares about how it's presented, and order some and find out for yourself. They're great little gifts, and save on that shipping, man. Fuck, why not? dapperbeardoil.com. Promo code TakerWide, free ship. And lastly, we have Wellington Brewery. They're Canada's oldest independently owned microbrewery out in Guelph, and they provide the beers for the show. If you're out and about and looking for a good beer, you could try what I've been sipping on recently, the chocolate milk stout, which I spilt right before this episode started. I think I mentioned that at the beginning. It's really good, though. Really good. It's not crazy thick. It's a strong beer, but all the Wellington stuff's good. Even their sours. Through Wellington, I kind of got into sours. I was sipping on those sours for a bit. But also, they support the show, so show love if you guys can. Wellington Brewery, they're on Instagram. Follow them. All that. All this helps me get the show out to you guys. So those are the sponsors. Thank you for listening. If you did, I guess you didn't fast forward because you're hearing me say this. But anyways, so this episode I spoke to Nick from Miners. Nick is based out in Windsor. Miners are out there. They just released their album Abject Bodies. If you've never heard of Miners, I'll play some of the stuff later on in the episode, but just a crushing band. This album is so thick and bleak. That's a word we used a lot in this episode. And Nick's just a really rad guy to talk to, so I was really happy to talk to him for this. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. This is 259 with Nick. And I should mention that the first minute and a half or 2 minutes, there's a little buzz that corrects itself. So just an FYI, don't shut it off because the little buzz, it corrects. Okay. Anyways, hey man, congrats on the fucking album, man.
Thanks, dude. Thanks so much.
The album crushes so hard. Your band is really good.
Thanks, man. Appreciate that.
I remember when I saw you guys. It's those like your band. Like, I'm just gonna make your head all huge here, but your band is so good that it's a thing that, like, how did I not hear of these guys? Like, when we played with you guys at the Metal Fest or whatever, it was like, how the fuck have I not heard of these guys? Because they're like so amazing. But you guys have been a band for what, 4 years, 5 years?
Yeah, me and Sean have been at it for quite a while now.
I think we touched on this like in the last conversation too, a little bit. Yeah. I think we did. We released a demo in like 2012 or 2013, and yeah. So I guess it's been a while, but a lot of people ask us this actually, and I think all I can really sort of say it might be is geography. Do you know what I mean? Like, we're in sort of one of them weird spots in the world, and that might just be what prohibits it. Like, I know if we were in England, there'd be no shortage of being able to play sort of big shows and festivals all the time, so really close. But when you're in a weird sort of, I wouldn't say it's like remote, but it's just sort of abstract to a lot of people. Oh yeah,
connect up. You know what I mean? Like people in Toronto don't go, oh yeah, we'll get minors all the time. We sort of have to press for that kind of stuff. So yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, I'm super choked that I missed that show too, man. Like, Mark was there, right? And he said it was fucking awesome.
Man, it was probably, you know, like you play a heavy show and I've only ever really known sort of one or two things, and it's either that it's totally mental and everyone's going crazy, but then no one's at the front. It's just like the whole room's going mad, and that's great. Like I love it. You know, there's a sort of horseshoe of people and everyone minding out the way, or there's no one, and or whoever's there is at the back. And this was one of the first times that we've ever really played somewhere, and it was like people stood at the front, like shoulder to shoulder, and there's no like massive, insane mosh pit or anything, but everyone was like right at the front digging it, and we could see it, and everyone's engaged, and I was like, "Fuck, this is fucking great, man!"
Yeah, you dream of those gigs.
Really yeah, you know, like because you always feel like there gets a point when all you know of live gigs being a hardcore band is that. It's like, okay, well, if everyone's not just going mental, then they're not enjoying it.
Yeah,
but that's not true. You know, I mean, I go to loads of, you know, maybe like bigger gigs, and not everyone's going mad, but you can tell everyone's really into it. But I've never got to be on the other side of that, so it's really nice. And we've got some of these sort of bigger songs, like more slower, heavy songs, and we played those, and it was just cool.
Oh, did you guys play the closer on the album?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, we finished with that song. Yeah.
Man, fuck.
So I've been wanting to play that song live for years and years. So it was really, really good to like actually do it.
Was it the closer of the set?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm so like there was another big show happening in Toronto too, and
there was a bunch of shows that night. Yeah.
And I just didn't make it, man. And the next morning I was looking at Instagram and kicking myself in the ass, like fuck.
Yeah. We really lucked out as well, actually, because I thought there was a lot of stuff going on, so I thought, it's probably going to be a bit of a weird one turnout wise. But
well, the Bovine's pretty cool.
Yeah, well, it was a really late show. Like the doors were at 9, and the first band was on at 10, and there was 5 bands. So we played at like 2 something, and it was great. Yeah, so everyone came out of every other show and came to the Bovine.
Cool.
So it was packed. Like from when we got there, the doors had just opened when we got there, and there was already a good crowd in there. So it's great.
How did? Sorry.
Worked out. No worries. Yeah, that's it.
How did like, because merch is weird. It's at the very back, right? So like, did people grab merch or? Yeah, we did good. We sold like a bunch of records before we played. Wow.
Me and Steve were talking about that. Like it is in a weird spot, but you do have to go past it to get places. You know what I mean? So you're not just like in that corner of the room. Like you're in a thoroughfare. So it worked out. Yeah, we'd sold like 4 or 5 records before we started playing, which is rad.
Yeah,
it's always nice going on, knowing like, we sold merch. Like people care.
Yeah, it's weird when people buy before because it's like, I guess unless they're a big fan, but it's kind of like confusing. It's like you haven't seen my band, but that's I guess our mentality. Like nobody likes my band, you know.
I'm always like I confess that I'm not a big buyer of merch at shows, and I feel bad about it sometimes. But one of the sort of things that I don't do is I don't want to hold it all night, so I'll be like, I'll get it later, and then when the show is done, there's just like a huge crowd of people buying merch. I'm like, I've got a bank account, I'll buy it.
It makes me think of people who don't normally go to shows, like let's say co-workers or something, and they'll go to your show and they'll buy your shirt and they'll put it on right away, and like or they'll buy the merch and then they're like, I never thought of this, and they have to hold this fucking vinyl for the rest of the night.
Yeah that's the thing. Co-workers come into shows and like they have people who are less involved in the scene, I think they see it as an absolute thing that you must do is buy stuff straight away. It's Jesse's other band, their drummer, he works at a tool and die shop, and for some reason, like loads of guys from his work came to see his other band, Psychic Void. And he was like, all these guys just like bought all of our merch. Like every one of them like bought a record and a tape and a t-shirt. And it was like it was ingrained in them that they should do it. And I wonder why we don't really have that as much in hardcore. Because those guys, they're just like, yeah, you get a shirt and you get a t-shirt, go see the band. And when I was younger, I used to do that, you know, like I'd go and see Korn, and there was no way I was not going home without a t-shirt.
I wonder when people like that buy merch that don't normally go to shows, it's money in your pocket, but it's also like, I don't know if they're ever going to listen to this record or if they're ever going to wear this shirt again. So it's kind of like a wasted sale sometimes.
So true. Like, there was a time at the Dominion House, and a friend of ours, his girlfriend, got really, really wasted. And she works in like sales in some way. I think she like works for like a big glass, you know, like spectacles glasses store. And she was just like, can I sell your merch? And we were like, yeah, sure. And like I left her to it, and about an hour later she was like, right, I've sold like 19 t-shirts. And we were like, what? And she'd basically gone around the whole bar and like chatted up all the barflies and got them to buy all our merch. And that was cool. Like we had a bunch of money, but it was totally that. We were like, they're never going to wear them.
Yeah.
We're just going to find them in Valley Village in a month or something.
Yeah, just buy them. Oh shit! I guess they'd probably sell them for more than you paid for. Like you buy them back from Valley Village and then sell them again, and like.
That's a good shout, man.
To the same barflies, you just have this circular fucking merch moneymaker thing.
Yeah, complete the merch circle. Buy the merch again. Yeah, it was good though because they were all like a design that we'd had way too long.
Okay.
And when we were like one of them bands that we didn't even bother setting up our merch half the time, so it just festered in the bottom of a box. So it was really good to get rid of it, and it paid for like all new merch. So it was good, but
yeah.
You know, came with a price.
Yeah, man. But like the record came out on Friday.
Yeah, I guess that's I'm so far out of the loop, but yeah, they release records on Fridays and they announce them on Mondays.
Oh, is that the thing?
Yeah, or maybe it's movies come out on Mondays and or something like that. They have a schedule. They have a plan.
I have no idea. And like I feel you probably. I don't know, like kind of, how do you feel, man? How do you feel that it's out now? Not like there's still tons of shipping to do, or is it like kind of like now you take a breather? Yeah, kind of. Yeah. It's been a long wait because we did the record a long time ago, and because of the label schedule, you know, we had to. They basically said to us like, you can release it, and we'll sort of do you know, buy it wholesale from you. You can do it in your own time. But if you want, like, you know, we can do the real deal, and we'll do it our way through our people. But there's a wait, and we were totally fine. We were like, yeah, we'll just wait. Like that sounds good, and we can plot things out. Because I am intrinsically a seat of your pants person. Like I'll do everything. I sort of oddly thrive on it. I know I shouldn't, but I love being able to just do things last minute and spontaneously. But everybody else in the band doesn't like that at all. So it was nice that we had all this time to kind of think stuff out and plot it all out. And you know, it was done before we even went to the UK. We knew the record was coming out. It was about then that we agreed it, and the date and everything. So it was really nice, and we worked like quite closely with the label to get all the right sort of pieces in play before we released it, and worked with their PR people, and we got the video done and got the artwork done proper. It's been really good. It looks,
I guess it's relieving.
Yeah, well, it's like you have a plan and you want it to, it's all these like pieces to equate to people hearing it and people buying it. And it's almost like MySpace in a way, where MySpace had plays and now Bandcamp have those little like squares, you know what I mean? Of like, I think people who, I don't actually understand what it means, but it's like people who bought it or people who approved it or suggested it. And it's great because I see, you know, it's like I have to click more a bunch of times and there's more and more squares. And to me, that means like, okay, a lot of people heard it, a lot of people bought it. So I hear what you're saying with like all the pieces fell into place with a goal to be people to hear it. And yeah, it's like what you guys do, man, is like so polished. I think like it's not so much the sound. Like I'm not speaking to that, but like everything, like the artwork, the video, obviously the record, but like, I don't know. It's like, I don't know how much of that is Holy Roar or just you. Cause I feel like I always do this where the guitar player is like the spear point of the band, like the band dad. I think you're the band dad, right?
Yeah, I think so.
So is that your vision, like to make things super top notch? Because I don't think that's an accident. It seems all premeditated, like because it's all pro. Everything you guys do is fucking crazy pro. But
yeah, we definitely have a standard of like what we expect things to be like, but you know, there's a lot of like we're really lucky that we have me to record and mix stuff, and we can sort of take as much time as we want with that, which that sort of is the beginning of it. You know, the recording is of a good standard, and I think it there's a lot of times when with other bands I would be in and talking to other bands, you know, and they make a record and they're like, oh, there's things I would change and there's things that I don't like, and we only had this long to mix it, and there was this limitation and such, and we don't have we just don't have that, which is great. Do you know what I mean? There's just nothing holds us back in that capacity. Like I think of times where a band, you know, I'd sat with a band in the studio and be like, is it this or this? Because they had to make a decision, and we just don't have that. We'll just be like, we'll think about it for a week if we're going to put this song in this order or we're going to do this thing. Or
man,
so there's that, and then you know, with the videos and stuff. After we did that one with Andrew, and it was such a, you know, pro affair, I thought well, there's no way that we could not do anything. We couldn't change it up from that, or not far away. You know, we couldn't do a big departure from that in general. You know, sort of homemade video or anything. So that was the plan the next time round, that we would do the same thing. And then the art stuff really just fell into place because we just didn't really know what to do. And the guy who did the artwork, Anthony, is just a guy in Windsor, and I think Sean said, "Oh yeah, just let's hit him up and see if he wants to do something." And I was really nervous about it because I'm quite a control freak. I like to control how we're represented, I guess. So in that sense, yeah, you know, there is we do have a standard because we think quite consciously about what it looks like and how we present ourselves. But like handing over the control of the artwork was quite interesting because we gave him an idea, and I always worry that the idea gets lost in translation when you're asking someone to make something for you. But he totally got it, and we gave him all the lyrics and the ideas that we had, and I think that really tops it off. Once the artwork was done, and we could see it, and we knew what it all would be, then I felt really confident about it. Yeah.
So you had all the music. That was kind of the last piece, was the artwork.
The video probably was the last thing, and there's still another one to come as well. Actually, that was really the last sort of piece of the puzzle of how we're gonna put it all out, because they play such a huge fact. That's really what sort of brings the record into the world for people. You know what I mean? When you have this like center point that people can latch onto with a video to watch, and it gives you sort of an eye into our minds more than just musically. It's sort of a next step.
Yeah, that's it. Oh man, that's such a. It gets overlooked, I think, the importance of a standard. Because if like my bands, maybe for lack of funds or lack of time or just lack of, like, let's say Sabatini, for example, like we're all over the place. Like there's not like our standard is almost like a creative standard. Like everything we've done is like kind of pushing ourselves and stuff. But if you like, as far as like audio, it's all over the place, you know. And even Grabert, like we're almost still trying to find our place. And I think that really helps a band when there is like a clean sort of like presentation of what it is. Like let's say like a band like Converge, you know what I mean? They have like, you know, like if this is for your palate, you know what you're getting generally. Like if they were to stray too far off, it might throw people off. I think even like Ken Mode, when they did that Success record, like it's a standard, but it was a little different. So people obviously received it a little different than they would if it was just kind of like, this is what, you know what you're getting. I don't know. I think I'm just ranting at this point.
No, I think you're right. Like I when we started it, because obviously coming from sort of years of recording bands, I really wanted to let go of any control of how our records sounded. So we like almost intentionally, like nihilistically recorded them in the most simple means possible, you know, like without any refinement, and on a sort of premise that, you know, if it's good, it will just come out and sound great. And the first few things we just did like that. And my worry was that if we worked hard on getting something sounding good on record, then you're sort of obligated to continue it. And that is kind of the case. You know what I mean? We're now backed into this is this is the standard of our record, and this is the standard of our video. And I don't feel like we can sort of pull away from that and just be like, oh, we're going to just do a home recorded thing, or 3 mics on a drum kit.
Yeah, I hear you, man. I hear you. Like, I know as a fan of certain bands, let's say like Burnt by the Sun, for example, like there's a trust I have in them. And like, I love this band. There's a weird part of it that's a trust thing. That's like, I know this is going to be crushing. I don't have to worry about that. And that's a fear of mine too, is like, if we experiment with other studios and stuff like that, it's like, we'll be happy with it, but are other people going to be like, I just use the Sabatini because there's each one of our records sounds totally different because we've worked with different people almost all the time as far as like the mixing end of things. So I guess it depends on who you are as a listener too, though. Some people like that. Some people like to grow with the band.
They really pick up on like when the recording changes, like, and some people love it, and some people get really sort of, it switches them right off if the record's got a different overall sort of recording vibe. Like I could name them on my hands, sort of bands that have sort of, maybe not necessarily just, totally sort of died. That record sounded like crap.
Yeah.
Never listen to them again. But it hurt them. Like, I mean, even like massive examples like Metallica, like they went from sort of having these like, really like, you can't really fault them in any way, to having like Justice for All come out, and it was just like disaster of a recording. And it like hurt them, you know what I mean? And then Saint Anger, the same thing. But I remember like sort of working with smaller bands, and they had gone through that too. And they recorded an album and it had just not quite hit the mark with people who liked them. And even if the band absolutely loved it, like people just didn't take to it. But do you know what? I don't personally worry too much about how other people respond to it. It is a me thing. It's like how we want it to. I just sort of feel that we've obligated ourselves to continue a sort of lineage of what we do, and it shouldn't devolve. Maybe it should. Maybe that's what we should do.
Well, and maybe it will. You never know, right? Like, this is what, your second full length or third?
Yeah, second full length, I suppose. Yeah.
So, there's still, as far as like timeline of a band, like you guys are still young. Like, you're not young people, but like I almost feel at this point, like, 7 years in, you're still like a young band. Like, it's not like, but that's actually not everybody, I guess.
So I remember not long ago, I was reading something about the Body, and like they've been, I didn't know, but they sort of really sort of got a lot of attention in the last few years. And there was they were responding to some sort of sassy comment, and they basically said like, look, this isn't like a flash in the pan thing. We've been doing this as two guys for 10 years before anyone even cared about anything we'd done.
Oh man.
And I was like, oh yeah, there you go. Like, I don't feel bad if it took us this long to get it together. And it's kind of nice because it's so, I've no insecurity about sort of messing it up because I know exactly how to do it.
Yeah.
And that's nice. I read another thing interesting recently. I was reading this interview with Electric Wizard, and don't know if you sort of listen to Electric Wizard too much, but they kind of have this sort of center point of their music, like Dope Throne.
Yeah.
It's like their Nexus album, you know what I mean? And they've never really done it again. And they did this more recent album that's sort of very sort of psych heavy kind of sound.
Okay.
And in an interview, he goes, well, I feel like we've sort of taken it right back to the beginning, like a cleansing of the palette to what originally inspired us to be Electric Wizard. And now we can move forward, and if we want to do another record, really heavy, sludgy record, then we can, and it will make sense. But they sort of felt like until they did that they would just be sort of rehashing something. And I kind of like that. Like, they're just going to cleanse the palettes and do something, go back to the roots. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, that
without
is
being
cool.
too cheesy. Yeah.
No, well, like, I don't know how long those guys have been doing it, but
a long time.
Like, I'm always fascinated with any songwriter to create something from nothing, and especially when you're a band that has a certain vibe, like to continuously, like 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, still be making something that is still your band sound. But like, how far do you go away from that? Like, I don't write songs, so it's super fascinating. Like, even you I can talk to you about it. Like, with writing these songs versus like let's say the Atrophy album,
Yeah.
was it like, I don't know, did you sit down like, because the album is really, it's like deeper, and it might be because it's fresher and it's like the visuals are darker. I think that's like the visual, the artwork itself is such a standout sort of thing because it's, if it looks how it sounds, so it's like almost like,
I'm stoked on that.
yeah, man. Did you come? Is that when writing this stuff? Was it like I want it to be darker and heavier and bleaker? Like, because it's strayed a bit, I think, from the last record where it's like it's bleaker. It's like not sadder, but just like heavier, but not in like fucking heavier. But you know what I'm saying? Did you aim for that, or is that just a natural progression of the four of you guys? I don't know. It's a big long question.
It is. I think it is pretty natural because the last record, the songs that we have on the latest one they sort of existed when we recorded Atrophy. Definitely that last track, the Garden of Dismalism, was written a long time ago before Steve and Jesse were involved with Miners in any way. So we did refine them a little throughout that sort of period of time of when we released Atrophy. You know, we really sort of tightened them up. But it's honestly really just a more thorough representation of all of us as a band, rather than, you know, a few older songs and then a couple people and then, you know, new people joining and then sort of tightening them up. These were all basically composed with all of us together.
I do forget that, yeah, the songwriting process happened so long ago, I guess, for this record. Now, how different do you find the new stuff that no one's really heard to, let's say, this last record? Like, is it, I don't know, without giving away too much, like, I'm curious because what's like the newest song you guys have that like might be in a set but isn't on anything yet? Like, how new is that? Like a year ago you guys wrote like a full entire song, or
would have been
3 months, I don't know.
Yeah, like three months, maybe 4 months. Yeah, we wrote them right before our last recording session. We wrote a few songs, so they would be about then. You know, the last sort of 4 months or so, and they're faster, I guess, is the main thing. They're just sort of faster, to the point songs. I guess we can talk about, we're releasing a split. It's not, we don't have to make it a big secret, I suppose.
I think,
I've told a few magazines now, so the cat's out the bag. But yeah, I think we wanted to actually intentionally make them just slightly different. Like a lot of splits that me and Sean listen to a lot, the bands tend to just sound a bit different when they do a split. I don't know what it is. Like, they just sort of have a different mindset, or if they write the songs with the intention of them to go on a split. But we just wanted to have some really to the point songs that would be sort of less meandering and more just kind of like in your face, quick stabs of music. There's like Converge. So I always notice with their splits, their songs tend to be like the most unhinged, fast, like mad shit. And we realized, just do some of that, like a little bit more experimental, but, you know, it's not like massive departures or anything. Just we tried some really different tunings and tried to simplify some parts. So I really don't know. Like, I was thinking about that the other day, what people will think about it. Someone wrote on our Instagram, like, why didn't you give us more power violence? I was like,
you know what? I saw that, man. I saw that. And there's a comment like, yeah, the new stuff's like fast, and it made me think of the split.
I was like, that's funny. This is going to be sort of, you know, melodious with that comment, because they are much faster, just quick to the point, the songs. I feel like big long songs deserve on albums, and sort of short blasts deserve on smaller things. So, you know, I guess that was kind of the intention.
Do you, you might not even be able to answer it, but like, I wonder, like, who's digging Miners? Is it like younger kids or like older dudes, or like, it's, you don't, I don't know, maybe totally Roar knows, but
I can answer it, because the wonderful thing of the internet and music just tells you who listens to your band, right? And it's guys sort of, you know, 25 to 35, I guess. But the regions is what's really interesting, is like where records go and who buys them. Is like, obviously there's a lot from Windsor and Toronto, and then it's like a lot of people in sort of Arizona, San Francisco, New York,
Weird.
Boston. Yeah, like loads of records go there, and then obviously the UK's there's a lot in the UK too. But it's like great, you're all as far away as you could get from us. You know
From
what I mean?
Windsor, yeah.
But
Like,
they all good places, all
Yeah.
places we want to go, but just not easily traversable. We can't just pop down to San Francisco, as much as I would love to.
No, that'd be sick, man.
Yeah.
I do wonder, like, because Holy Roar, they're a UK based label, but they're they're not on like a tiny label. Like, they're a super legitimate label. But you guys, you guys are in Windsor, and the label's in the UK, and like, but I feel like they have enough. They're pro enough that they might be as effective as a North American label, or I don't know. Like, how does it work with, like, do you feel that it's a detriment having a UK label, or like, do you wish like maybe there was a North American, because there isn't a North American label behind this, right? It's just those guys, or no?
Yeah, there is. It's Death Wish.
Oh, okay, yes.
Yeah, so it really, they're
There you
smart.
go.
They're smart people, Holy Roar. So they've ensured their coverage. Having, when you're connected with a company like Death Wish, there's not that they needed it, but it's a sort of added layer of legitimacy when you've got a big distributor like that that's sort of got some real authenticity about them.
Yes.
I think helps us a long way. Not that I can't say I've ever spoke to anyone at Death Wish before, but knowing that you can sort of access our material through them helps, no doubt. And I think that's probably what plays into those sales around the States like that. That's where that sort of gets funneled through, and that's such a great thing to have for a UK label. If you have a connection like that,
No
and a way to
kidding.
get your material out, you're golden.
We Sabs had a label, a France label that put out our second to last record, and they did some PR and stuff, but we were missing that like sort of Death Wish type distro. That,
Yeah.
really would have helped. Yeah, I forgot you guys there was that involved too. And I feel like that even helps. And there's probably people who trust the label that just are
Totally.
fiends. You know what I mean? Like, well, this is a new thing connected to this. I'll grab it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I know that's certainly the case for Holy Roar. A lot of the times that we talk to, we do interviews and stuff, people talk about Holy Roar. They're always like, Holy Roar is a label that people are committed to, and they have earned that like 100% by being, extremely authentic, having that, picking bands that fit within their ethos, and they connect with the right people. In my view, they never put a foot wrong. There's never something I'm like, oh, I don't know why that's there. And there is labels out there, that sometimes you wonder why they've got a band on there. Is it just because they can sell records, or are they selling themselves out a bit? But I just no fear of that ever happening with Holy Roar ever, or with Death Wish. I don't think. They're pretty legit.
That's awesome. Did like, I'm thinking with all this PR that you guys, because it looks like you guys got a lot of PR.
Yeah, it's overwhelming. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, like, are you doing mad interviews like all the time, or like, how's the PR process been with Holy Roar for this record?
Yeah, really good. We use this company that works with Holy Roar called Hold Tight PR.
Okay.
And they're all just super, super lovely people who totally get it. They're all in bands or come from working on small labels. So it's very, homegrown, and it feels like you're communicating with people who just utterly get it. And I sort of fear that with PR companies, that you just get some people who have absolutely no reason to care or be engaged with anyone, but they're sort of, or they're all sort of second connections, that they know a person we know, or we know the band they're in. So it's nice to deal with them, and they really sort of heard us out on what we were hoping to get from the records, and who we wanted to hear it, and where we wanted it to go. But the coolest thing was, we would shoot an email, be like, oh, by the way, we really like this blog, and they were like, yeah, they've already got it, don't worry.
Cool.
Like,
Okay.
they totally got it, which was cool. Because PR's a funny thing. Like, it's not like a record label where the record label, you know what they do. Like, PR companies are sort of, to me, they're a bit of a dark art, really. You don't see them. They don't advertise themselves. At least I don't notice that.
No, I don't feel like they do. Like, there's probably so many that exist that I can only name a handful of PR companies, but has to be hundreds.
There must be a lot.
Oh
yeah,
my God, there must be. I was going to ask about or what were you going to say?
No, I was just when you ask people like who do you use for PR for? They just say, oh, I've just got a friend, like, you know. And I don't know who do I talk to about this, and
well,
it's hard.
Yeah,
It's
I
hard.
almost feel some PR is like, what mailing lists did you how many
Yeah.
mailing lists are you on or whatever.
Yeah, and I feel like the ones that really advertise themselves are probably not the ones you want to deal with. You know what I mean? It's kind of like the same with, you book a studio. The one that you see advertising on Facebook all the time, probably not a studio that you want to deal with too
Yeah,
much.
they're advertising on Kijiji too, like,
Yeah.
anybody
Get
come
the
to my
record out
studio.
there. Yeah. Not good.
The Pure Grain, I just more curious, like, you guys did a beer review thing, like, how did that go?
Yeah.
Was it just
Oh
like,
God, man, it was a disaster. It was great, like, fun. Like, so they said, like, you can do, what would you like to talk about? And they sort of gave us a few ideas. One of them was a top 10. And I said, we could do a top 10. What does everyone think? And everyone went, Steve and Jesse brew beer for a living, right? So it's like they just know it inside out. And they're Canadians, this Pure Grain Audio. So we were like, why don't we do like our 10 favorite beers in the LCBO? And I was like, yeah, that's great, because we wanted to do something a little bit different, and that just people who don't know miners would be like, oh, I want to know what someone thinks of the 10 best, because everyone's got an opinion on that.
Yeah.
So we were like, we'll do this. So we went and bought 10 of our favorite beers, and I thought, to me, in my head, that was like, all I've got to do then is drink 2 beers, because it is 2 beers each, right?
Yeah.
And a one extra. We got 2 band beers and 2 each. But it's actually drinking 10 beers.
Fuck.
And I'm only drinking the equivalent of 2 cans of beer, but it absolutely ruined me. I was so hungover the next day, and it wasn't like a pounding head, like puking up hangover. It was like, I can't use my brain anymore. Like, I was just messed up. We had to like order a pizza halfway through because we got Jesse picked like a 14% beer.
Oh my God.
And that was when it started going wrong. And then we bought like these sour beers, and they just absolutely destroy your gut when you drink like 2 of those. So we were already about 4 beers in at that point, and then we ordered some pizza, and that made us feel like crap, or me at least.
Was that
vegan cheese?
Was that filmed?
No, we totally should have done.
Oh, okay.
What was the funniest part of it really was just as we were writing it, like, everybody wants to control what they say, but there's only so much you can really say. So Steve and Jesse, like, they really, really know beer, so they talk in really technical terms about beer, and I was really militant about, look, no one gives a fuck about how these beers, like, what they are on the nose, and like, that sounds like the label in the LCBO, like, tell me something funny, like, I want to say something about you. And it was like, really, like, the funniest part was us drunkenly arguing about how to write a like simple sentence on beer.
What does that?
So that'll be cool.
That's
no, not yet.
Okay.
I've got to edit it, because it just turned into diatribes of like what beer was best. Like we picked like we picked a couple like beers that we really like, just thought would be fun to talk about. And one of them was Dab. One of them's Dab. Have you ever had Dab? Just it's like a $2 can of beer, but it just serves a purpose, and it's not like super super shitty, but it's not great either. But like, and then so we picked Dab as the like, oh, this is a great beer to have after the show, and it won't break the bank kind of thing. And then we picked another beer called Fax, which is a German. I think it's German.
Yeah.
And I had like a story, because I remembered why I like Fax. It was like, I was driving along the Autobahn many, many moons ago, and you've probably driven on the Autobahn quite recently, right? It's terrifying, right? It's just absolutely mad.
Well, maybe we didn't actually, but yeah, I know it to be
insane.
Yeah.
No speed limits, just everyone's just blipping along.
Yep.
And I nearly got like sideswiped by a massive transport truck on the Autobahn, and I've been driving about 16 hours thinking it would be fine, and it wasn't. So I pulled over into this like sort of service station, and like there was all these, and I had a trailer, so I had to park my car in the sort of bit where all the trucks are, and all these trucks, and I was walking behind them, and all the truck drivers were sitting behind their trucks on these like lawn chairs that they must have just got out the back of their cabs, drinking these like massive like liter cans of Fax. And I was like so freaked out by it, because in my head I was like, I nearly just got destroyed by a truck. And then are all the truck drivers just drinking facts and
Jesus.
driving around? Like, is that how they do it? And I was really, really freaked out by it. And then I tried to sleep, but I'd had about 8 Red Bulls. So I was trying to cut this story down that I managed to give you quite quickly into one or two sentences, and I've not managed to do it yet. So there's loads of chopping it down.
Oh, that's fun though. That's cool. Like, I love the idea of like, well, that's, you know, a band is friends writing music, but sometimes the business gets in the way, and then the friendships kind of suffer. Like, it's sweet that, you know, 4 dudes can have beers and write a reviews for the beers for the record. That shit's fucking important, man. Like, you know, especially over time. Like, it can. I'm fortunate that I have good friends that I can make music with, and I wish I lived closer to the Sabs because I could actually hang out with them. But I'm fortunate in that I can hang with Mark. Like, we can literally just go play video games and not jam.
Yeah.
You know, like sometimes we'll do that. We'll show up to jam and I'll have my sticks in my hand and we just end up talking for like 45 minutes and then like, let's just fucking call it. Let's go home.
Yeah, it's really important. Like, I think if we didn't have it, I don't think we would exist really, because it just wouldn't be worthwhile. Like, me and Sean, sort of, when we started Miners, we had this one rule that it was like, we only do it if it's fun with anything. Like, if we're going to enjoy it. And we still stick to that. And one of the things that Steve and Jesse brought is that there has to be a social aspect to the band to not make it into, you know, monotony or any kind of sort of requirement or obligation. So there's always a social aspect to being in Miners. And the nice thing is, you know, the jam space is in Steve's and Jesse's house. They live together, so it's super convenient, and we always end up hanging out. And it definitely made it, especially when we got going in that lineup, it made it I felt like it went a lot easier.
For sure.
Man. Like that.
Did those guys, when it comes to arrangements, I think about that again. I'm amazed with songwriters and stuff. Do those guys help with like the arrangement of songs? Yeah. So how does that work? Like, you send it out, everyone give their 2 cents. What part should go here? Should go there? How does it go?
We write together pretty much completely. Steve is the analog king. Like, if there's a way Steve can do it more simply, he will. So he actually has like a tape, like a little handheld tape recorder in the basement, and we write something, we'll record it on the tape, and then we'll I'll have a riff, and then Steve will rearrange the riff a bit, and then we'll connect it up with a few things. There's times where I've just brought like a whole song and been like, here we go, but there'll always be, everyone will contribute changes that really, really make it a better record, or a better song, should I say. It's very like, we're all really connected in the songwriting for sure. And then as far as Jesse goes, like, he tends to get the lyrics written before the songs are done. Like, he has the lyrics together, and then when we go and record it, I might help him out with a bit of the structure here and there, because sometimes the riffs are weird timings and stuff. Trying to put vocals over like an 11/8 riff, and you're not you're not playing it. It's really hard. So we'll help with that, but it's very it's a team effort, definitely. Yeah, that's cool. And that's what really made it a lot. What really made it a lot better than it was everybody sort of, Steve will go, no, we should definitely repeat this little bit or change something around. Or I would say for this record, like, probably Steve wrote half of it.
Wow.
Yeah. Like, for somebody who just joined the band and then wrote half the riffs on the record is like huge contribution in my eyes. Normally it takes, guitarist or bass player joins the band, they don't really get involved for quite a while, do they? Wow. Sort of find their place.
Yeah, I think
when you're joining.
Yeah. Well, at least by nature too. Like, at least in my experience, it's always primarily the guitar guy. Like, I'm first in line. Here's the riff that I came up with. Like,
yeah.
And I have to give credit to Mark. Like, Mark's always telling me, like, write a riff. I'm like, I don't know how to write a riff, but at least that door is open. And there are times where I feel a bit guilty because it's almost all on Mark to, like, especially with us, because there's no other. I'm the drummer and he's the fucking bass player. So I should really take advantage of that a little more. Like, I guess for you, do you feel that pressure? Like, I need to bring the riff. I guess maybe not, because Steve's helping out. And like, does Sean write any riffs or no?
Yeah, he hasn't. I wouldn't say he's like, gone, check this out, and picked up a guitar and played it, but he's totally like, he has ideas that he conveys to us, for riffs and stuff. Like, sometimes he might just say, remember that one thing that you used to play, or we just used to jam, because we do a lot of we'll write one riff and just jam it for an hour.
Really?
And
So you like literally like do something and then just like you're repeating it, and just seeing where it goes,
Yeah.
kind of thing?
Yeah. That's how a lot of those songs, that slower songs, come around, is we'll just be playing this big heavy riff, because we used to always think that we had to have sort of segues between songs, and initially those sort of songs were just segues between fast songs, and then before long they actually just, we were like, oh, we can record those, and then they became songs rather than just segues. And Sean is a big contributor for those. He thinks them up a lot. So yeah, he does contribute an awful lot. I say, if anything, like my sort of, generally I sort of steer the ideology a little more than anything else.
Okay.
But overall, like, it's very, very balanced in terms of contribution. Yeah. Really, really balanced.
I have a bunch of shit here I was gonna ask. What the length of the album, like, is it longer than the last record or shorter?
Yeah, same amount of tracks, but it's longer.
Okay.
Yeah,
those big juicy songs on side B.
You got, yeah, there you go. If you ever want to turn an EP into an LP, just whack a 7-minute doom song on the end.
Were there songs that didn't make the record?
There was 2 sort of noise tracks.
Okay.
That were going to be on there, and that would have made it about the same length. And then when we decided to add Garden of Dismalism on it instead, I actually sent the other songs to Mark, and he said, he just said straight up, said, I'm not really a noise person, so don't listen to this. He's like, but I don't see the point in these. And I went, yeah, actually, that's exactly what we needed to hear. You know what I mean? And just cut to the chase.
Yeah.
So we removed them, and because it really didn't serve a purpose other than to sort of lay out the bleakness, but it really wasn't thin on bleakness,
No,
so it's all right.
Yeah, fuck, especially the last track, man. Like, in the last 2, actually, I really am, like, the more and more I listen to it, like, I love when you guys crush and rip, but it's cool to flex those muscles, especially what you guys are doing, because it could be pigeonholed, I think, a little bit.
Yeah, totally. That's our big fear, really, is just sounding like your textbook 3-minute, sort of hardcore power violence band.
Yeah,
so it's nice to stretch it out.
Big time, man. Did you do anything different gear wise in the studio versus the other album?
No, it was like exactly the same.
Yeah.
I guess the only thing that's really different is that Garden of Dismalism was actually, aside from the bass and the vocals, was recorded at another studio. Our buddy Nate, we recorded that in his basement once.
Wow.
And it was, the hardest thing was mixing 2 different sessions to sound like the same session. Was hell, man. Yeah. It was like points where I didn't want to do it, because I was just like, it's not the same thing. But now it's a good job that I didn't overthink it, and I just kind of did what I thought sounded right, because now I can't tell. It's just weird.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's always the case. Like, you're so close to it, but I would, if you didn't tell me that, I wouldn't have known for sure.
Yeah. It was. I can't believe we got away with it, to be honest. Because I really thought it wasn't even meant to be like a keeper recording. It was just like, we recorded it one evening, and then we're like, wow, that sounds really cool. And I didn't change anything like of the composition. Like, I overdubbed some little guitar parts and stuff, and I didn't want to change anything about it. And that was my fear. Like, I didn't want to re-record the song because I felt it might not sound as good as it does in this particular instance.
What's your take on demos versus shit that makes it on the album? We were talking about this with Shawnee from the Sabs about sometimes a demo captures some real type of magic that you can't recreate on an album. Yeah,
no, I'm an absolute believer of that.
What is that?
Fact, yeah, I don't know what it is. I think honestly, it's conducive with with a lack of confidence of when you're making a demo.
And
that you're sort of so sparked, like, oh wow, it sounds good, that you feel like it was luck, and not that actually it's a great song, and you could probably progress it into something way better. I haven't ever come into that instance where I have re-recorded something and it's not been as good, but it does exist. You know what I mean? Like, I've heard records where they release the demos, and you're like, wow, there's some serious spark. But they were already good songs. Like the redone version sounded awesome. It's just the demo had this little extra something to it. But I think it's just, that sort of fear that maybe, a lack of confidence, and you think maybe I did just somehow lucked out and got the perfect take. But
um, I'm trying to make this as natural as I can without looking at my fucking questions that I had.
no worries.
Well, I guess there's so much time that has passed since it was recorded, but is there anything you would change about the record? Like maybe the song order, or I don't know, anything?
I mean, on a technical level, I would probably record it a little bit differently, because we record like everybody together in the room, aside from the vocals. So Jesse was there for the whole recording of this one. And like there was some technical stuff, like I couldn't use some of the room mics I wanted because it was just filled with guitar all the time instead of drums. And I've kind of got an idea of how I want to do that next time so that we can still all play together but keep enough. I'm really big on sort of big roomy drum sounds, and I always feel like inhibited by my own guitar playing.
Yeah.
Stops that. So I would change that around. But the song order is a massive thing for us. Like we really I think I overthink it. But I think we got it right. A couple of people said, oh, maybe they should have mixed them up a little bit. But I really like the way the record starts really, really fast and sort of progresses into these big, heavy songs. And I like that you turn it over and you get a totally different vibe from it.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was an intentional thing that there's that one song that plays this really, really long riff. And like maybe it's my turntable, but I've come to know that the inside song on the first side of a record tends to sound not so great because of the way that it's cut.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
So like bands like Sabbath, they would try and put like a quiet song.
Yeah.
Like Planet Caravan is the quiet song on the inside of that record.
Yeah.
And not the banger, because then, the banger sounds. So we were like, if there's this one riff looping over and over, it would kind of be cool if it starts to sound a bit more distorted and gritty. But it progresses into that big, slow swath of riffs. It's very intentional, and some people were like, well, maybe I should have mixed it up. And that sounded really cool too. I just really like the autoristic idea of just going, no, it turns into this.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Man, it's a great record. I'm so like, it's what's the word I could say, but just it's spoiled in a way because I have buddies who like are releasing cool albums, you know what I mean, that aren't like $30 on Discogs or something. Like they're affordable records and they're like super top notch. Yeah, man, I'm fucking super stoked on it, dude. Like, record's great, man. It's so good.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
I figured like it's not really much else I really wanted to touch on, but to play a song off the record, like, is that cool? Like it's out now, I guess so.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, absolutely.
Actually, here's what I remember I was going to ask. Who's doing the vocals on, I think, A Road? Doesn't sound like Jesse.
Yeah. No, it's Sean.
That's Sean.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. That's a good story, actually. It's sort of sad story, but it's cool.
All right. What's up?
Well, so like the song existed in a few forms, and then we kind of like hashed it out into a full tune. Jesse really didn't sort of. It wasn't he didn't want to write lyrics for it, but it wasn't really sort of solidified when we came to record it, as often is the case. But Sean was like, I have an idea for the vocals I want to write for this, and we were like, yeah, wow, go for it, man. And so we recorded it, and then I sent that to Sean, and then a few weeks later when we started doing the vocals, like Sean was like, can I record the vocals for this song? I was like, yeah. Sean's never done any vocals, like, ever. Like, never heard him stand in front of a mic, anything. Like, don't even know if he could do it.
Yeah.
And he came in with like this little notebook, and was like, yeah, let's do it. And we did 2 takes, and that's what he did. Wow. And the lyrics like cover Sean's brother-in-law passed away from stage 4 cancer.
Damn.
Last year, and it was a very long process. It was sad, man. He was a really young guy, and it was a really tough time for Sean and everyone in his family. And he that was his inspiration for it, and it was amazing that he managed to get it all out like that.
Wow. In
a fully formed idea, and managed to sort of perform it so authentically. There was a review we got, and it said like the vocals would be cheesy if they weren't delivered with such authenticity. And I was like, that's the mark, man. Wow. If you can, doesn't matter what you say, if you can truly convey it with absolute conviction, you can say whatever you like.
That's insane, man.
Yeah, and so we're
Wow.
going to perform it with Steve's going to play drums,
What?
and Jesse plays bass,
Whoa.
and Sean's doing vocals. Yeah, we haven't done it live yet. We've been jamming it, and it's really cool. So yeah, we're going to do that on Saturday. It's going to be the first time we've done it.
Oh man.
Should be pretty cool. Yeah.
Wow, that's wow, he really crushed that. Yeah, because I was listening to it. I'm like,
Yeah.
this isn't Jesse, but it's like still gnarly. And that's the thing too. Like Jesse is such a gnarly frontman, and
Yeah.
and his performance like is so raw, and I love it, man. It adds this whole other layer to what you guys are doing. So
Mhm.
to have someone like, especially Sean, who isn't a vocalist, come in and
Yeah.
like hold his own, like Jesus
Yeah.
Christ, man.
Crazy. We're going to get him like a cape. Like, because he was like, I don't know, like it's going to be weird, just me going and standing there. Like, do I use a mic stand? Like, what do I do? And I was
Yeah.
like, I'm going to get you a cape.
Did he? So did he like just like, I don't know, the mic, the fancy? What mic did he record that on? Just like a 57, or was he?
Yes, same as Jesse. They just use it's actually a Heil mic that we use for the studio. It's the same as same mic that Kurt Ballou's a big fan of them, and the guy who owns a studio was hyped on that and bought a few of them. And they're like a really good version of a 57,
Okay,
basically.
cool.
It's a dynamic mic, and we give that to Jesse because he can hold it a bit. He doesn't like run around with it and kneel on the floor and stuff, but you can hold it and it doesn't bother it.
Huh.
But yeah, Sean just did the same thing. He just stood there with his little notebook and poured his heart out, and it was pretty hard, man. Like it was like we always say they always go, it's fucking hard, and it was really intense.
Well,
I'm not a good engineer with vocalists when they're really green. Like I don't like to, or I am, but I don't like to go, you should do this again, because I sort of fear that you're going to sort of break their spirit when they're sort of just finding their feet. And I can just I can tell people exactly how it is really easily because I've just done it so much. But I had nothing to say to Sean other than that was amazing, man.
wow.
Like, it was so cool. Yeah.
Well, wow. Well, I almost feel like I was gonna say we'll do the Hibzine where we'll play some tracks, and I was gonna suggest that one or Consumed, but I kind of think I don't know. What do you think? It's a longer track, but
Yeah,
I think we have to play it,
man. You want to do a road?
I think we have to.
Do it. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, if you feel we can get a 6-minute
Yeah.
big doomy sludge song in, then yeah, that's rad. I'm down with that.
Well, I really love that track too, man. I was thinking even the last one too, but I don't know. Let's do a road. I think that's fitting. So yeah, let's put a road in right here. This is off of Miner's new record. Drawing a blank. Abject Bodies.
Yeah.
Let's, right here. That was Sean on vocals, killing it.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, listen. I just figured I'd do the song. I want to just touch base and talk about the record because I think people need to hear it. A lot of people listening are friends and peers, so they probably have. But if not, fucking grab the record, support Miners, and just weareminers.bandcamp.
Yeah.
So how
That's
does
right,
that
yeah.
work? Because on your site it's in pounds. So
Oh.
do people buy it and it gets shipped? No, because you guys have copies here, right?
So it's an interesting thing because it goes through a lot of different avenues. But I guess the simple way to put it is if you buy a record off of Bandcamp, that's Holy Raw takes care of that for us.
Okay.
If you buy merch like shirts, that's us. I think our merch comes up in Canadian, but the LPs. I haven't looked at that actually. It's interesting.
The shirt is in pounds, but
Is it the one with the record cover
Yeah.
on the front?
Yeah.
That's also Holy Raw.
Yeah.
They press those. for
makes
that,
sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
That
I
makes
guess
sense.
easiest way is just to go to a show.
Yeah. I mean, that's it. That's a nice way to do it. Or you can buy it off of Death Wish, or you can buy it off of Holy Raw.
True.
I know if you buy it from Death Wish, you pay American, but they do those gift cards like every once in a while. Usually, whenever there's sort of a retail holiday, they do a 25% off gift cards. So you can just buy an e-gift card and then immediately use it on the sale, and you get 25% off. So it kind
Cool.
of fixes the exchange rate.
There you go.
Or you can buy it from Holy Raw, and they'll ship it over too. It's just I don't know what the exchange rate's like. Pounds and Canadian dollars are not good friends.
Yeah. This is gonna go up. Today's Monday, right? Next week.
Cool.
So I guess your show will have finished. What is next week? Yeah. You're playing Windsor
4th
next
or 5th.
Saturday? Or I guess the Saturday
Yeah.
that just passed when people hear this?
Yeah. It would have been on the 2nd, so this will probably be the 4th or the 5th or something.
Yes. What else do you guys have coming up for shows? Like we're gonna be doing some stuff, right? But is that the next run?
As far as runs go, yeah, that's definitely the next time. That's when all my school stuff's done, so it's perfect. I'm like a free agent again.
Oh,
so we're
sweet.
going to do that. And then we're just talking about going to the West Coast in August, I think.
Oh,
That would be
wow.
really cool. Yeah.
Oh, wow, eh?
Yeah. We found this, Steve has hyped on this cheap website that has, really affordable Canadian flights. Like, we saw return trip to Vancouver from Hamilton for, $260.
Okay.
So we were like,
Is that Swoop?
whoa.
I think that's Swoop.
Yeah, fly swoop. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So we're all about that right now. We're thinking about doing sort of Calgary, Edmonton, Kamloops, and Vancouver,
Wow.
maybe Victoria.
So just
Which should be sweet.
wow. Well, yeah, man. There's some people who listen who are out that way. So if you're in Southern Ontario, so Grubert and Miners, we're going to be doing some stuff in April, like Toronto, and there's a Waterloo Fest, and
Yeah.
a couple more dates we'll figure out. But I don't know. People can grab the record. You can get it on Bandcamp too, right? Just digitally too, if you want to.
Yeah.
Do
It
that.
should be going to, I think, your Sunrise Records and those kinds of places. Holy Raw distro to them.
Cool.
So, and so did Death Wish. So it should be going out to those places too. I'm actually really hyped to do, to see it in a store that I didn't go and put it in for once. That's always a nice thing for sure.
Hell yeah, man.
That should be cool. Yeah.
Awesome, man. But yeah, I'm gonna just close this off and go to bed because I'm old and lame, and
Yeah, fair enough.
I'm sure you're tired too. We're getting there, old man.
Yeah, I know, man.
yeah. But man, thank you, man. Thanks for
Pleasure.
yeah, good to see you.
Thanks for
Eh?
having
And
me. Yeah.
we'll be in touch, and I'll let you know when this thing goes up. And yeah, the record crushes, man. Record is so good.
So glad you're stoked on it, man.
Man, yep. Thumbs up. Okay, buddy, you be good. I'll be in touch. We'll talk soon.
Take it easy, man. Thanks for having me, dude.
Peace.
Bye-bye.
Bye, buddy. All right, sick. Yeah. If you haven't seen Miners, they're also amazing live. It really was when I saw them the first time. Like, fucking Christ, who are these guys? Great record, great dudes, best dudes. Anyways, let me do the sponsors here. I'll close it off. Thank you guys for listening. Let me bang them out. We got Los Cabos drumsticks. They are Canada's #1 drum manufacturer. They make really durable sticks. I use them. Their price point is great. maybe because they are Canadian, but a really good stick company, family run, good people. Go grab a Los Cabos drumstick for you or your drummer. We also have Dapper Beard Oil. They are the beard oil company out in Ottawa. Use promo code TakerWide, free ship, and save money on your shipping. HeartbeatHotSauce.com. You can find hot sauce. They are from Thunder Bay. They are a sponsor. They make delicious hot sauces. If you are a fan of hot sauce, please grab some Heartbeat hot sauce. What else we got? Kevin Rigo of Hefner Toyota. If you or your friends or family members or anyone you know is looking for an honest car salesman, I 100% back this man. He's a great man, good friend, rad dude, Kevin Rigo. Ironclad Graphics. They are a silk screening company in Kingston. They'll do shirts for you. A lot of shit. Just go to ironcladgraphics.com and check it out. They did the Taker Wide shirts. And Wellington Brewery, I think that's the last one. They provide the beers. Again, I was sipping on a chocolate milk stout for this episode. It's really good. I have t-shirts if you guys want to support the show that way. Just go to takerwide.com and click on merch. Designed by Sean Arsenian, a.k.a. Wormzilla. I have all sizes, and they're on sale right now. So grab a shirt, support the show. The Instagram page is Takerwide Podcast. There's the YouTube page. If you guys can just click subscribe, that'd be sick. You do have to search Takerwide, but you'll find the channel there. And homepage, takerwide.com. I almost have all the old episodes posted there, so they're easy to find. And I think that's it, man. I don't know. Just again, thank you guys for giving a shit. Thank you guys for listening. I don't know. I love you guys. I'll talk to you soon, okay? Peace.